crack one of these open as well again, just mix it up a touch more. Still a bit strong. I went half a cup. Yeah, you want a bit?
Yes,
you gotta have a bit of that as well.
Come on, bro. Come on, bro. That's it.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Half a cup of Ray in the cup.
Oh, can you leave a bottle of Ray next to me and Ginge, bro?
Yeah, man. We'll polish that off in it, AK. Sort it out. Sort it out.
Come on, you got to take that one, and we got this one.
Thank you very much.
Do you want me to open it for you?
Yes, please. Thank you, bro.
Boom.
Tell me when.
Keep going.
Oh, so it's how you're rolling,
that's it. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sure about that one, AK, yeah?
Come on, bro. You know me, man.
I'm trying to do a favour.
Come on, bro.
Tell me about Marmesh, and he was spanking cupfuls there.
I
don't think it tastes like sour sauce.
It don't. It's a shit one.
Ooh.
Tropical vibe sour sauce is shit.
Yeah.
Do you want some more? You want some more of that, innit, mate?
Come on.
How's your one? Is it nice?
Oh, fresh.
Mine's
sour
come out
sauce.
alright, yeah.
I mean, fresh sour sauce.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Just if you need a bit more.
That's a banging drink.
Thank you.
Sweet, mate. You cool?
Damn.
Yeah, 100.
This pineapple and ginger one.
Good.
Oh, why is it Ray? Why is it Ray and nephew though? Like, is that your?
What?
Why is it always Ray and nephew?
Why are we always drinking Ray and nephew?
Yeah.
That's a good question. It gets you drunk fast. That's it, mate.
I say
I just want
this
to
is.
want to get you guys to talk, can I?
Yeah, no, I don't need flipping drink to talk now. Talk all day. Don't worry about that.
But welcome, guys.
Cool.
We've got Ginger with us here today.
Swedish.
Ginger's a long-time friend since I can't even remember. Everybody locally is gonna know who this man is. I'm telling you. He's from the same estate as me, but he's 15 years older than me. So he's from the same streets, and also went on to become a youth worker in the local youth club that me and all of my friends went to as well. So basically feel like we grew up with him, and he's always been around really. He's just one of the oldest in the end.
Lurking about in the background. Like a bad smell.
Not like shitty pants.
No, not like shit pants. No, fuck that shit. You know you are.
But yeah, Ginger's always been one of the older figures in the neighbourhood that tries to steer the youth the right way. He's always been putting himself in a position, stops for people, puts himself out for people.
That's good, definitely.
I've seen a lot of it, man. And you know everybody's parents as well.
Yeah.
Because of how long that you've been doing what you do, I thought that you would be perfect for this topic.
Cheers.
And,
thanks for having us down and that.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate it.
We've been waiting a long time.
I wanted to support you out anyway. I want to support you ropes anyway. You know, I support any of the lads from back in the day, girls, lads, whoever that youth worked and all that. That you hold a special place in my heart. So I will always be there for you, no matter what, man. So if you're doing stuff like this, positive stuff, like man, you have to drop me a line and I'll be there straight away. You know?
Thank you, man. The proof's in the pudding, man. You're here. Thank you for coming down. And welcome to the Wise Monkeys podcast. Let's do the intro.
Yeah.
Welcome to our podcast. This is the Wise Monkeys podcast. If you don't know what the Wise Monkeys are, get to know. It's one of them things. If you don't know, get to know. Energy. And today's topic is going to be: is it the parents?
Is it the parents?
Yeah, is it the parents? As in, is it the parents' fault that people do wrong things, end up in prison, end up joining gangs, or selling drugs, or doing robberies, or doing whatever that is that's going on out there? Why people do badness? I'm saying youth's going to jail for murder or being killed. Some people sometimes say it's the parents' fault when your kids end up dead. So, where was the parents? You know what I'm saying?
Everyone says it's about the parents is the first thing they say, but if it's the first thing they say, there must be an element of truth in it in the first place. Do you know?
There must be a truth, boy. That's what I think, that parents do hold a responsibility.
There's many factors, definitely. There's many factors in terms of it's not just parents, do you know what I mean? But like, you know, they've got to take the most biggest responsibility of it all, in my opinion anyway. But you know that there is like environmental issues and just, you know, other things that go with it, do you know what I mean? Environmental issues meaning where you live, households, you know, what household like there could be a family would probably prosper more two parents in the household over maybe one parent in the household, or maybe no parents in the household and they're foster cared, or like, do you know what I mean? There's always going to be there's going to be other aspects. It's not just clearly the parents.
Do you think that kids have a better chance being fostered than being a single parent? Being a single parent household.
It's
just from
it's fostered, but I mean, if they're getting pulled from pillar to post every couple of weeks, couple of months, couple of years, one living with a family, then lodged off to a next family, it's disruptive. It's not settling.
Impact on their life.
That will impact on their life. And what I find, and this is what I found when I was a young kid, because I had a shitty upbringing myself. Do you know what I mean? That you know, I just feel that you find family elsewhere, essentially. Do you know what I mean? So that could be on the street with your pals. Do you know what I mean? And that is, I thought was a big thing for me. Do you know what I mean?
You know what? When I was younger, I'd rush out to go.
Just go beat the man.
To meet my family.
Is that what you get away from?
To meet my family, bro.
Yeah, it's true, because the last thing you want to do is be in a household where it's a bit flipping. It's hard, do you know what I mean? It's difficult. Like there's situations happening, and it's the last thing you want to be around. And that the best thing was to get away, remove yourself, and be out with the lads and or with the lads and the girls, whoever your groups were you're growing up with. And
just feel like you're in a different world for a time, isn't it?
It's a little bit escapism, a bit as well, and it escape from you know, when you're going home, going to bed, you got to get up for school the next day, like fucking all that shit. It's just you know, it's quite fraught or difficult situation. You didn't like it. It could be like in terms of personally, there was like, you know, in some cases, especially younger and growing up, there was like drug abuse and alcohol, and all that in the family. It like my mum and dad and that, and then I've had my mum and her boyfriend and that. And it was horrible, mate. It was horrible. I'm not gonna get into details in it, but it was a horrible environment. Do you know what I mean?
But would you blame your parents for like?
Did you?
I blame.
No.
What he just said is that.
It's an environment that's made by
I understand
that he had at home was drug and alcohol.
But he's not on the streets. He's not in the gang.
No, but that turns you to the streets. That turns you.
He's not in the gang now.
I wasn't in the gang now at that time because I was young. I'm talking about young. I'm talking about single digits young.
So what kind of things?
And then you build up to then I'm a teenager, and then my mum's having the next relationship with fucking same issues, same bullshit. Fuck that, now I'm getting a bit older, I'm getting a bit bigger now. I don't want to be in a pub now. I'm going outside, I'm fucking getting involved in what I call my family members outside on around the flats and that. And that's how I looked at it, do you know what I mean? And it's the same with brothers as well. Food was rife on the table because the alcohol and the drugs comes first and that. Food was, tell you, fridge was empty, nothing out there. It's a case of then you have to get involved in your little bits and pieces to earn a couple of quids just to fucking feed myself or feed my brothers. Then my brothers will get involved in that, and then they're feeding themselves. And then we're talking about basics, food, do you know what I mean? Then obviously when you're around the flats and you start Friday night, Saturday night, when they get the beers in, do you know what I mean? So then it goes that way as well. But you're all together, your family, and some of the rest of them are doing the same thing because that's what's going on in their households as well, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so you come together. You come together as a group.
But there will also be people in the same group who do have food at home.
Yeah. But that go on, sorry.
That what I was gonna get onto is earlier you was telling me.
You
were saying to me when you was 19, you was running
yeah,
up in people's
18,
houses.
19.
With thingies and that.
Yeah, of course.
And you wouldn't put that down to your parents.
No, 100% not, bro. I can't blame my parents for the way I went. You know what I mean? I chose my situation and my lifestyle.
What did your parents think that you was doing?
They knew what I was doing. They tried stopping me, but they couldn't. Do you know what I mean, bro?
They tried to stop you?
I don't know, ringing me, telling me to come home, checking up on me, shouting at me, things like that. Do you know what I mean? But I can't blame my parents for the life I went, the life what I was doing. Do you know what I mean, bro? So.
But then that can come down to like whether as a young person that listen to what I'm getting at. I'm not saying this is for you personally, but in terms of like you don't want to be part of the little dweebs getting bullied or like around the manor or around the area and that. So you kind of like you want to build up a friendship, a bunch of friends, this and that.
Of course.
And then you got to kind of put yourself out there, show yourself to be part of the crew, part of the bunch of lads. Right. So now if mum and dad, and you can have mum and dad this, that and the other, it don't look cool to be fucking listening to them too. Telling you what to do and this, that and the other. So then as well, then if the guys you're building up a relationship with outside on the manor is now like saying, look at you little melt, like flipping, you're getting told by your mum and dad, this, that and the other. It's embarrassing, you don't know.
On at his house.
No, of course.
You know
yeah, exactly.
And then he's telling you to stay out with him.
Yeah, and it can be a bit manipulating as well. Because some young people have lived a harsher life compared to others, and they're quite quick to manipulate situations or people's thought processes, and before you know it, you're in something and you don't know how to get out of it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
I think there's a little bit of that. So there is different aspects to it all.
Yeah.
So you can have the mum and dad there, but it still doesn't stop you from doing it because you felt maybe alone at one point, not part of anything, and you wanted to get part of something, so you got in it, but now you don't want to get embarrassed by your mum and dad, so you're like, fuck off, who are you talking to? Don't tell me what to do, because you're saving face, because you're trying to be a certain type of person in front of the
tough guys.
Yeah, exactly. So, I do
you know
think
what?
it's a bit of that.
Yeah. It makes sense.
You can't blame. You can't always blame the parents. Like, do you know what I
No,
mean?
but
that's it's very difficult.
No,
100%.
I
I
don't
don't think it's something that people should just dive into because there's so many different angles that you need to cover.
Of course.
Yeah, say that you've got everything covered financially. You've got food on the table. They've got a nice room and stuff like that. But you might not be feeding them emotionally.
Yeah.
You might not be feeding their confidence.
Yeah,
you might not be putting you might not be putting anything in, like a path in front of them for them to walk. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, you're not. It's no encouragement
them to do anything. You're not making them feel rewarded for any of what they're doing.
Yeah.
So now, even though they've got everything, they've been made to feel like they've been given everything because they have.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of putting them in a way where they can turn into their own man.
Yeah,
so now, nobody wants to be mummy's little boy and daddy's little boy forever.
Exactly.
Yeah, unless you foresee that and try and help them find the correct path, they're going to go and find their own path.
Yeah.
And it's going to be with the boys
and it's about the energy levels of your mum and dad keeping up with it as well, because like at the end of the day, everyone goes and does something when they're young. It's adolescence, in it. So like when you're young, you're still trying to work shit out as you're growing up, especially when you're hitting like as puberty ages and that, and you're like just wired all over the gaff, do you know what I mean? So you don't know what's what and what's not and that, but you just kind of keep consistent to what you know, and then fuck the rest of it off, or be like defiant against your mum and dad, or this, that and the other.
No, of course.
But you, it's not just parents, it's environmental issues as well. Like it all falls into it. It's also that the issue of whether, you know, kids are just get a bit left behind. Like, do you know what I mean? There's not enough like for them to do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so you kind of find as a group, you'll just try to entertain yourself somehow, or this, that, and the other, and it goes either from that.
Egging people.
But for us, though, growing up with you, it was alright. Canopy Project was there, Rose Bowl was there.
Yeah.
These kids nowadays,
you guys used to take us
on trips.
Well, but this is what it.
Go-karting,
but this is what it's about. We try to pick up
biking,
kind of the slack of maybe what parents weren't doing, but there's many other issues. There's fucking madness going on with some kids around it that I ain't gonna start saying that on here. Do you know what I mean? That stays with me.
I used to see how that you guys used to get involved with people's houses. Like, see, it was.
So we wanted the best for you, because I like I said, like, sorry to cut you short, Rapes, but like I said, like, just I come from an estate, come from gangs. Like, I was in a gang, a big gang, flipping very notorious at the time, but it was just you come from that, and what I see as a youth worker, see lovely young lads, girls, they're really good kids, really good kids. They just need to be given a chance. Because it could be environment, it could be parents, or this, that, and the other. There's many factors, but you have to give someone a chance. Don't like wipe them off like as if they're nothing. Like, just don't give up on them. And sometimes some parents don't really keep on top of it. Are there trouble? Ignore the issue. Let them get up to whatever they want to do. But we would pick up the slack on the streets, like Welsh youth on the streets together. So for me, I knew I come from that. I knew what I lacked in my life, many things that I lacked in my life, and I wanted to, like, see you Ropes, you and Blimmin, all the rest of the lads and that, just, you're good kids, you are. There's something there. I liked all of you, and I really wanted to, like, but I could see the pathways some of you were going, and this, that, and the other. Yeah. So it's about, like, I got for instance, I could take you go-karting, I could take you out somewhere. That day you could have got a nicked for something, I've got you out in the environment, I've took you somewhere, right? Yeah, it might last 5 minutes, but obviously there's always going to be that spell where after youth club or whatever, but that's when the parents need to be jumping in there, do you know what I mean, and getting on top of it, So then, you know what I mean, you're getting guided, do you know, and I wanted to guide all of you, like, and all of you have done what you've done and that, but at the end of the day, I see good, young-hearted people. Lovely, love you, mate. Loved all of you, mate. And it's just like I wanted to do my bit. I wanted to give back. And if I saved one of you from going to prison, one of you from getting killed. Feel like I've done my job.
You're like the father figure, right, brother? That's what you're trying
father figure without being a father.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like at that time, then I had my own father, my children and that, and then things like that. You know,
you have to go and do your own
priorities change. Yeah, your priorities change, and I couldn't be there for the very end of your age group, but I was there for the pretty much most of it.
A lot of it.
For a lot of it, yeah. So
and then like Roger that took over. Roger used to walk the streets.
Well, that's what they don't do enough of now. Like, obviously the youth services, they've been like. Been just like absolutely lodged off now, haven't they?
The funding and that.
Funding and everything, and basically detached working was good, like, because what Roger was doing is trying to meet up with the people that were like drifting away, not getting involved. So let's just try and get them. Yeah, because they're getting involved in other little things, you know what I mean? Like things, drugs,
Roger, have you seen this? Big up Roger, big up yourself.
Roger's a ledge. Roger's a ledge. Dawn as well. Dawn as well used to do a lot of detached as well as doing youth working. But no, she. Yeah, I was gonna. There was talk that because she's at Rose Bowl now again with Stacey, because she used to work there, and she worked there as well, and there was talk I was gonna go back. Just recently, but it hasn't, and then COVID hit and all that, so it didn't happen, and I'm in a different place. Timing's everything, and that sort of got ruined. But I could have started trying to sort these little nuggets out around the man and now, like, but you know what I mean? Because it's got a thing like what does me as well, like knife crime, all of that.
Crazy,
shit.
Bro. Yeah.
Like when I see another young person getting stabbed out there, getting killed and that, and it breaks your heart. It does. It doesn't matter who it is.
100%.
It's not right, man. It's not right, and I'm used to being able to. I like the face to face to be able to get out there and tackle them issues. I would love to do that, but is that dude? And I had some. I can't remember. I think it's the Prince, Mark Prince. I think he's doing the. His boy got killed. He was a QPR football player. And he got stabbed to death and that, and he's doing some positive work in London, I think sort of more down west area and that. But I used to have some, obviously you wouldn't know, but we used to do some no day training things and all that, and he used to be there, and he's an ex-boxer and that as well, the geezer. But I see him coming up on Sky Football and getting interviewed, and I see him on the news and that, and he's doing positive work out there, around knife crime with young people and that, and I just think it's positive, and there should be more of that sort of thing, do you know what I mean? And it's important because too many of our young uns are dying out on the streets, and it's not.
I think if anybody's going to fix it, it's going to be the people that's come from that.
Of course. People
who have come from those areas and stuff
like
that.
It's
not going to be anybody. The last generation and the generation before that, they're going to have the most understanding than anybody who's coming from any office.
Of course. And you know what? That's the thing as well. Like with the way youth working went, it was all about kind of about you got to get this certificate and that certificate because the child protection thing, and it's almost you have to be qualified to do it. The only qualifications you need is to be experiencing real life out on the streets, and people like me, you can't teach that in a classroom.
No,
do you know what I mean? You know that, so growing up you know how things gone for you and for your group of lads and that, and you're in a better position to be able to educate the next generation coming through. You don't need a certificate and a little stamp to tell you, you can work in a youth club and do this, that. It don't work that way. It does not work that way. And also as well, it's getting to a point with youth working that it was getting too structured, like as if it's at school. But you need to be looser with it, do you know what I mean? So you need to be welcoming, but bit looser.
It's not a school. It's not
a school because
not daycare
kids.
Or anything like that.
It's not daycare, and kids will run away from that. Don't like school anyway. So why the fuck they go in youth club to a structured program and you have to do that? Nah, mate. You have to be looser. You have to sit down and talk. Have a laugh. Sometimes you make a bit of food. Like I said, sometimes I didn't have food in the fridge. They got somewhere to go. Have a little hot meal. Do you know what I mean? Like with Rashford, with what he's doing with the school and the football thing and all that. That with the food thing and all that. Getting hot warm.
Cooking food in there. Computers,
do you know what I mean? It's important.
Studio, pool, just be able to chill on the sofa. Talk to your friends and stuff like that. So many things going on all at the same time. Someone be playing football out the back in the cage. Everything happening at the same time. Do what you want.
Remember this guy, man. Remember this guy so much. Just he just turned up, he's just standing there. He's like my shadow a little bit sometimes. You just follow me about sometimes. What are we doing now, Ging? What are we doing now? What are we up to now? Then just wanted to he had a bit of a smile on his face all the time. Quite positive guy. That was you, innit? I was like, no.
People used to say, why are you always smiling?
He was always
good energy, bro. Good energy, innit?
No, exactly.
That's what you need. That's what.
But that's the thing. That's what I see. I see that, in the young. When I was youth working in the young people, I see that. But then everyone else sees a different side of you. Do you know what I mean? The things, the horrible side. Your troubles.
I don't want to give it a chance or anything like that. Don't want to give it a chance.
Don't want to think outside the box that it could be because they got a bit of a shitty upbringing. It could be because, do you know what I mean? Many other factors. But
don't want to go home. Maybe there's
don't want to go home.
Exactly.
They go home.
Bored or anything.
Mum's having a fucking argument with dad. Dad's slamming doors, punching holes through walls. Dad's flipping, punching fucking the mum in the nut. There's all sorts of madness going on. All sorts of madness. I don't want to get into stuff what I see as a child, but it's terrifying, some things.
No,
as a child. So then when you become a teenager,
nothing, can it?
You want to get away from that shit. You don't want to be in a part of that. So I want to be away from my mum. I want to be away from my dad. I want to be away from my mum and boyfriend's fucking bollocks. Fucking doing what they're doing selfishly and that. Fuck that. What am I going to do? I'm going to go out with the lads out in the streets and that's my family out there. Yeah. And it was. And that's how it is. Parents have got a lot to answer for, mate. A lot to answer for. Because everyone, like we said earlier, what's the first question that comes out of people's mouths? Where's the parents? Where's the parents? There's something in that if that's what everyone's saying. Do you know what I mean? It's gotta be. It's a big factor. I'm not saying it's the main factor or it's.
No,
everything.
Definitely, it plays a big role.
It plays probably the biggest role in it. I think it plays the biggest role in it.
It does play the biggest role. At the same time, it does. Like you said, Jim, didn't it? You know what you went through and all that. It changed you, and you thought, fuck that. I'm not gonna do all this.
No, but there's different.
I'm gonna do my thing.
Your home might not be like Ginger's, yeah, but there might be different kinds of emotional damage going on. That leads you to run away from it.
Massively. I know there was some young people that's going through some sexual abuse and stuff in the home and stuff. Obviously not going to be letting people know who that is, but do you know what I mean? There's some harsh shit going on for young people, do you know what I mean? And that's got to mess anyone's head up, surely, do you know what I mean? It's sad, but but as kids, because you just don't think, like, you're not wise enough, but as kids, if kids knew that about another kid and that was going on in the household, they're getting murked, they're getting slaughtered.
Bro. No, they're not going to help, are they?
You know what I mean? They're
just not ready yet.
Yeah, they're not.
To understand.
Do you know what I mean? It's true, and that's it. It's emotional intelligence and this that. That's something that's gonna come with you when you're older. But when you're a kid and you're trying to work shit out yourself, you ain't gonna know that.
Life is simple.
If it's not good,
because you ain't got no responsibilities.
Yeah, it's A and B. Good, bad. Yeah, that's it. So there's no in between at all. Straight cut like that. No, man. It's just not how it works. But I don't know, man. I just it saddens me. Saddens my heart seeing young people getting killed. I mean, that's just a couple of years know. My brother got killed around the manor as well. You know, so I've been on that side of it as a family. Yeah. I've also been part of, when I was on the flats, my group of guys that I was hanging about with, guy was killed on the flats, murdered. Yeah. So the group of the guys murdered another guy. Yeah. So I know that directly my brother was part of that as well. So I've been on both ends of it, and it's do you know what? It's just shit both times. Do you know what I mean? Especially when it's the loved one. That's probably the worst, obviously.
Oh, bro, when I look at you, I think you've done well for yourself. Do you know what I mean? Like you've been through it, you've seen it, but you've done well for yourself, bro.
I think you saw early. You saw early. You had some things happen in your life. You probably had it all happen to you too early.
Too early, yeah.
So
too soon.
Yeah, of course. But then
you need to get the hell out of there.
Yeah, of course. But then as well, that maybe if it didn't happen that early and that, and a bit older than that, then I'm in prison as well. Exactly. I might have just been wise enough, or I got my shit together enough. Because I didn't go to prison. My brothers did. I didn't. Do you know what I mean? But I tried to stop. I had to be almost like a father figure to my brothers, and just like try and stop them from doing their things and all that. But you know, some people are either headstrong, some people ain't. You know, it's hard. You know, but it's the support's not out there. If your parents are not supporting you, where do you think you're gonna get it from? You're on your own. I think. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. 100% agree with you on that.
No, James, I think that's a really good way to end it now. Yeah. Thanks for coming.
No problem, bro.
Yeah, you've been everything I thought you was going to be.
Oh, yeah, no problem, mate.
Let me down.
No, cool.
Thanks you guys for being here as well.
Always.
If you've managed to listen till the end, please drop a like, subscribe. This is the Wise Monkeys. If you don't know,
get to know.
Know.
Sweet, bro. Cool.